Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. Today our group will represent our ebooks, which is we have choose two topics from Form 1 textbook. And for our first topic, we choose wet weather. This topic introduces us to extreme weather like floods and tornadoes. These events are powerful and can destroy natural habitats. And for our second topic, which is life on Earth, it focuses on biodiversity and how all living things are connected. It also explains how endangered species are affected by both human action and wet weather. So by combining these two topics, we learn how climate change and disaster can harm animals and how we can help them survive. For the learning outcomes at the end of the lesson, students will be able to orally describe the effects of various types of extreme weather on an assigned endangered species using a suitable environmental vocabulary and well-organized sentences in a clear and coherent spoken presentation. Another learning outcome is students will be able to clearly explain and present at least 5 creative and practical ways to protect the assigned endangered species from natural disaster using the right vocabulary and speaking with confidence. So for this project, we choose project-based assessment, and students have to work in small groups. First, they have to choose one endangered animal, and they have to find appearance, behavior, diet, and where it lives. Next, they have to analyze on how wet weather like flood and heat waves can destroy its home and reduce food resources. After that, they have to create 5 creative and realistic protection ideas, for example, building shelter, spreading awareness, and moving animals to safer areas. Finally, they have to present their findings using 2D models and give a short explanation using a proper vocabulary.
Hi everyone, I am going to explain why our project-based assessment is more suitable than traditional tests. So especially for our chosen topic, Pulse from One, Wet Weather and Life on Earth. So first of all, project-based assessment help students learn more deeply because they explore real-life topics, think critically, and they use language in a creative and meaningful way. So in this topic, students don't just study grammar or vocabulary. Instead they work together to research and present and also solve real environmental problems like how natural disaster affects endangered animals. Secondly, our project focuses strongly on speaking skills, which traditional written tests usually ignore. Students get real opportunities to explain and discuss. And then the last step is to present their English skills and ideas. So this helps build their confidence and fluency, which is very important in language learning. Another advantage is that project work gives students a stronger sense of ownership and responsibility. Instead of memorizing answers, they must apply vocabulary and communication skills to real situations. So for example, in a Wild Weather and Life on Earth project, they need to describe environmental issues and suggest protection plans and also present the final product to the class. So this make their learning more active and meaningful. So our project overall, our alternative assessment is not only more engaging and practical, but it is also supports language use in a real world context, which traditional exam often fails to do.
Let's take a look at the assessment rubrics. For our assessment, we have divided the rubrics into 2 parts, which are part A focuses on assessing the students' project content and model, and part B assesses the students' speaking and presentation skills. So the reasons why we separated the rubrics is because although we want to evaluate the students' understanding of the topic through the 2D model, which is the project, but we also want to evaluate their speaking and presentation skills, as this is an English class, right? So to emphasize on the language skill of speaking skills. On to part A, the first part, This rubric is to evaluate the project content and model of the students. As previously mentioned by previous presenter, on the description of alternative assessment for step 5, the students have to gather information that includes species facts, habitat, wild weather impact, and come up with 5 realistic and practical solutions. And after that, all of this information need to be transferred to a 2D model. For part B, the second part, this rubric is to assess the students' speaking and presentation skills, whereby we will take a look at the speaking fluency and smoothness, their use of environmental vocabulary and grammar, like do they use correct vocabulary that related to the topic, which is wild weather and life on Earth. Then we also look at the interaction and engagement of the presenters to the audience, like how well do they execute the presentation. Lastly is to observe the team's teamwork and equal participation. All in all, each of the criteria carries 5 marks, hence why there is 5 skills from poor to excellent. So it is highly important for the students to follow the rubrics because they will get marks based on the 2 rubrics. Then the reason why part B holds bigger marks, which is 20 marks compared to part A, 15 marks only, because again, this assessment is actually to enhance the students' speaking ability, while the content is just like the support to increase their knowledge and vocabulary of the topic.